Hi, and welcome back to Market Mama's podcast. We're really glad you guys stopped by. My name is Becky, and I'm here with Kendra. We are futures day traders from the West Coast, just about 3.5 years into our trading journeys. We created this podcast so that we could have a safe space to offer up our constructive conversations that might help other developing traders learn, grow, and feel supported, as these conversations do for us all the time. Because Lord knows, day trading is actually a really challenging pursuit. So today, Kendra is going to do an awesome recap of a day that was particularly challenging for her and walk us through how it all played out and the lessons that she gained. And can't wait to get into this discussion.
Right. Hey guys. So after Becky did her really awesome episode about how a bear bias can sometimes kick her ass, make sure you guys watch that if you haven't already, because it's so good. I wanted to share with you all one of my greatest struggle days that I've also repeatedly found myself battling on the market and coming out very much on the losing end. So the day I'm going to talk about is Thursday, the 24th of October. And for reference, I trade the NASDAQ Futures Index. To give a little context here, the previous day was a bearish trending day, and I traded my morning session very well. I was in sync with sellers. I even bought a QQQ option put later in the session as she just continued to sell off all day, and I had many more lower targets. So I was very pleased with myself that day, especially considering, as I've shared before, I'm naturally more inclined to seek out long opportunities. And then in addition to this, I was currently on a 16-day winning streak, and I had less than $400 away from reaching my 15,000 profit target on one of my accounts. So I was just in full alignment with my assignment. I was just feeling so strong, all types of CPT vibes, consistent, profitable trader. It was great momentum. However, on this particular morning, what I did not recognize was the real setup. And that was a setup for me to tilt.
Oh my God. Okay. So the whole conversation of a winning streak is like an episode onto itself, because the mind fuck that can provide for us being messy middle day traders, it's hard. I feel like every day I string along on a winning streak, I'm just just killing it. It's going to keep going great. But then there's that edge of you got this, right? And so I feel like that those days when you're just chugging right along, there's that voice inside of the back of our head. And I hate that it's still there, and I'm intending on squashing it as soon as possible. But I know that there's some kind of feeling too at the end of a winning streak that is pushing your best self to its next level. So I'm nervous a little bit. Tell me more.
Yeah, it definitely can affect your psychology for sure, and make you do some crazy things. So I feel like it's like an amateur problem, like a rookie move. I feel like we've been there, should know better, but it still got to me. But anyways, to get back to that day, with all that previous day momentum coming into pre-market on Thursday, the overnight session had just built value in the upper range of Wednesday, and it had a nice dynamic support and resistance from VWAP to positive 2 standard deviation. But overall, she was just very tight range. Initially, my intuition told me that it would not be a good idea to short unless price broke the overnight low. However, we opened and price broke VWAP with momentum and went straight to the -1 standard deviation. And my CDV was negative, and it just looked to be supporting sellers. Then price went back up to VWAP and chopped around there for about 10 minutes and then rejected. It started heading down again. So here I thought, okay, great. I have a VWAP to -1 standard deviation setup. I took that trade, and my entry did kind of suck. I got filled more closer to about the -1.5 standard deviations, actually. So I was stopped out literally right to the tick when she retested VWAP one last time. And then, of course, went right back down. And so now I'm triggered. I'm really frustrated, and I did attempt 2 more shorts as she rotated back up over VWAP now towards positive one band. And after that, it was just a loss after loss. Mind you, we have still not left the overnight session. We have still not left that range, and she's just starting to trade even tighter and tighter. So then, to pour salt on my wound, after price looked to be holding VWAP around 10 minutes, I decided to switch teams and go long now. And at that point, I was just fully trading on emotion and in full fix-it mode, desperate. So I over leveraged, and I just completely got chopped up and spit out.
Girl, I feel like every trader ever is going to understand this because, like one thing goes wrong, even just a little bit, like when the tick takes you out and then it goes down and it's like, it starts like that gnawing of like frustration. And then you're like, it's fine. Like I still got this. And then this trade setup. And then you start seeing, but then I think it's insidious how like we just start to slip our focus so sneakily. And then switching teams is like, when I do that, I know that I'm like, sometimes I'm right and it's great, but like sometimes that's just a sign of like, I don't fucking know. Shorts haven't been working, so the longs must work. Like I'm just gonna fucking switch it up, and then that must be what wins because this isn't winning, right? Like the mental like fuckery of day trading. It's legit. I feel like we understand each other because we have all been there. Let's be honest.
It's horrible. Yeah.
What happened next? What'd you do?
So it was a total bummer. I did not trade any edge, and afterwards, so I vented to Becky and I was like pissed because I was like, dude, I had such a strong pre-market routine that day. I woke up, I was so on point. And like, I was definitely in a full like pity party for a minute. And I was frustrated because if you look throughout my trading history, at least 90%, maybe even 100% of my tilt days have always been very tight range days that just do not favor my trading edge. It's like, how many more times will I fall into this? And, NQ is known for how she moves. Like even without a trending day, there's so much opportunity, but occasionally she will have just an extremely sleepy day. And this day she only moved 166 points compared to the 300 to 500 average range that she moves. So that small overnight range, she never traded outside of that either all day. And so shout out to one of my trading instructors, Footprint Queen, who always warns us about potential choppy conditions. And she said many times, you can treat overnight session as an IV breakout in either direction. So I clearly needed to continue learning this lesson and having yet another struggle day and experience to help me recognize and learn to manage this pitfall of mine. I know that I do struggle with scalping conditions, but that doesn't have to be a weakness because knowledge is power. But I have to continue to work on being selective and understanding my own personal tilt triggers so that I can avoid those emotions that cause me to force things. There was an awesome Instagram reel that I saw Carmine post this week, and it just really resonated with me. And it's very much at the heart of this episode's intention. So he said, the biggest thing is reflecting on market conditions, reflecting on how you trade in those conditions. And most importantly, reflecting on your emotions in those conditions, because different conditions bring different emotional responses to different rules in the market.
Right. I think that's like the beautiful part of us as traders. There's so many ways that we each can like find our groove and like how we see the market and what speaks to us and what trading setups are our favorite. Even within my community, which is separate from Kendra's, we are taught by the same mentor and we each have different setups that we favor, that we see more easily, that we trade more in syncly with. And it's a thing, right? There are ones that we see right off the bat and we can kill it with them. And there are ones that like just mess us up. Like we just can't catch as intuitively. And then like sneakily, we can think there's something else and then want them to be something else because that tends to work with our style more. And I feel like it's so easy to fall into that of like, it's almost like this one that really works well for me. So it probably is, right? And so I know I do that, like where I'm like, I really want this day to happen and I can make it look like a certain day. And it's so much more comfortable because that's where our sweet spot is as traders when it's our setup. But it's harder when you can sneak down in that emotional tilt because then you can't see things as clearly and you can't take the data as clearly. But I love that Carmine posted that. He has some killer content out there. And it really does speak to the fact that we need to work on our emotional intelligence just as much as our technical intelligence with trading, because there's real power in catching those days before they take you all the way down to the depths of the rabbit hole.
Yeah, it is. And it's because it's so disappointing when you can look back on all your really solid trades, your growth days, and you could literally identify your trading edge, your strength. And then when you have a day like I had, a full on tilt day, I look at it and I'm like, there's no evidence here at all of where I've been successful. And so letting a day like that, like completely take you down, it's like, it's disappointing. It's like, dude, like all my soldiers, I had no soldiers in this battle. Like I just ran in and got slaughtered. Yeah. So but again, everything happens for a reason and we're talking about it. And I know that I'm not the only one that's fallen into this type of thing. So, For the rest of my day after that bloody battle, I did have an appointment to get to. So I didn't even have the time to be toxic and like fully grieve my loss how I wanted to. And then when I got back, I decided instead of getting back into bed and crying, I would go for a run, which was amazing. I channeled all my anger and frustration into that run, and I ran a 5K at an 8-minute 34 average pace, which is close to my best pace. And then I also went out and I fully indulged in a 5-course lunch and 2 martinis because I'm still a queen. And even when I lose a battle, I deserve to act as such. Then to keep it all the way 100 with you all, later that evening, after homework and dinner, I did eventually get into bed and cry, letting it all out. I went to bed early. It was a mess, but I woke up at 4:30 the next day, Friday morning. I charted, I reset, I recalibrated, and I got my butt back on the horse. Recording today, this episode, it's been a week since that setback. And it was most certainly an opportunity for a comeback as I've been back on track, following my strong process, trusting my profitable trading edge. I did mention the book Mindset Secrets for Winning in my previous episode. And there's another part that really resonated with me as well that I wanted to bring on here. And that goes, failure is an illusion. Whether something is perceived as feedback or failure is key. Rejoice when you are met with obstacles. It is impossible to conquer greatness without error. If you're afraid to make mistakes, you'll never succeed in a big way.
Yeah, I love that book and that quote because it's just a part of the situation. Like you mentioned earlier, it was like a 16-day winning streak when this tilt day happened. And it's like, it used to be that 4-day winning streaks would make us nervous and we would have a tilt day. So 16 days, I'm just going to call it out. Like that's growth. Like we're growing. We are evolving in the fact that we still have winning streaks and then we fall off the damn horse and like bruise the fuck out of our face.
Yeah.
It's still progression and it's still growth. And and look at how fast, like 1-day turnaround, and you have been like on your game. Like your consistency is without question, like seriously leveling up this year. And it's been, I love you. And I'm so impressed by you, Kendra, because you are relentless with the way that you show up every damn morning, way earlier than me. Cause I sometimes snooze at 5:30 and Kendra's a better early riser than me. But I think that we have grown, and even though we aren't perfect and we still have these days that we regret, like screw that, like you came back like a queen that you are. And I support the martinis and the crying because like we still have to be human and experience what we experience and then let it be and lean on our people, which I think that you do a good job of expressing where you're at and what supports you and letting us be there. And that's key too, like having a strong locker room of people that you can have in your confidence and to let it out. And then, cause you can't hold on and harbor these tilt days because then that negativity will just eat at you. So I just think that you're very impressive, Kendra. And I am proud to know you and I'm proud to help share you with the world with Market Moms podcast. And I think that having these really tight range days is a problem area for a lot of people. So it's good to bring awareness to the fact that we are human and this is a day that triggers you and we're still working through our own triggers at Market Mamas. And so if you are too, as day traders, like we feel it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Becky. I think, definitely tilt triggers, understanding and, zoning in on what are your tilt triggers and catching them in real time. I mean, I think that's super powerful. Knowing how to manage yourself is extremely important, regardless of what Miss Market's doing. So thank you all so much for tuning in today. It means so much to Becky and I that we have the supportive community and safe space to share our experiences as developing traders. We have learned so much over these past 3 years and how easily our confidence can rise and fall based on our performance, but we are dedicated to showing up each day regardless. We know and want all our viewers to know and own that we are all worthy of this pursuit and have so much more value to bring forth during this lifetime. We hope that you all will continue fighting the good fight and believing that whatever you feel called to do has already been given to you. Just keep working at it one day at a time and letting all the beautiful pieces fall into place. We will be back next week with another episode, and please reach out to us to connect or to collaborate. All of our email, our website, our socials, all that info is in the description below. And our best trading days are ahead. Take care, everyone.
Take care.